Hello guys and welcome to my channel. My name is Jesper, and on this channel here we are talking about skincare and all that sort of a thing like a hair care and all those things that are you would like to have looking youthful for a very long time, kind of like actually into your old age if that's possible. So that is what we are talking about on this channel here. And today we are talking about something very important, and that is a sunscreen. And obviously sunscreen, there are some issues, and we have spoken a lot about that over the years basically now. And the thing is, of course, that we has been talking about silates, and that's not that really great. So today I actually have something I would like to show you, because a lot of these things that or what people are asking me about is that they would like to have a sunscreen that is really sort of very matte, and that is something that is really difficult to find. But I have actually found some over the years, and we've spoken about those before. One of them has actually inspired me to do something I will show you today, and that is this one here from Nivea Sun. So it's sort of a dark spot thing, 50 and SPF50. There is that little thing about this product here, and that is it contains salicylates, both homosalate and ethyl-hexyl-salicylate, and not really great. But Nivea, they have actually made something else, and I've spoken about that before as well. And that is this one here from they call it Babies and Kids, and that is the one I use at the moment. And I really like that one because it does not contain these salicylates, and actually there isn't much left. So I had this one here as well, and that is kind of like really similar. It just contains aloe vera basically, so that's a little bit of a difference. But that is the one I'm trying to use up at the moment. But the thing is that yes, it can be a little bit sort of greasy. I would say these ones this one here, I would not say that it is something that is like really like super greasy, like a Ven. Did anyone say that? Sometimes, oftentimes actually when I've tried a Ven, it is really greasy. So I would say that is a sort of an example of a company that likes greasy sunscreens, I would say, but that is my opinion. So anyway, what will I do in order to make this less shiny? Well, the thing is that actually this other one here, if we look at the package, this one here, it says on the back that they actually use something called Tapoica Starch, and they are using silica. And the silica, I'm pretty sure you've heard a lot about that, because it usually is in a lot of sunscreens, and it is simply in there in order to sort of stem the tide of malice from all that sort of greasiness. But sometimes it's really not enough, or they need to add rather a lot in order to make it actually work and be sort of matte. But then it can actually leave maybe sometimes sort of a white-ish sort of cast on the skin, but not like from zinc oxide and that sort of thing. That's not what we're talking about. But in crease lines and stuff, it can maybe be a little bit something that is visible, particularly if you have a darker skin tone. So for my skin, yes, it is not dark, I know, but one of the things I have with silica, which we're using a little bit too much of it, is that it will actually collect up here in the crease line. So obviously not a lot of people will see that, but it's just like yeah, you will be able to see a little bit of something going on there. So what they have done, as I said, they have used Tapoica Starch, and they have used silica, and they added silica further up the list, so in the ingredients list. So there are basically more silica in the product than there is a Tapoica Starch, but they're next to each other anyway. So what have I done? Well, lately I have just ordered this one here from Special Ingredients, and that is a Tapoica Flour, and that is basically just a Tapoica Starch, as it says here. And this is from a company that is using this stuff here, so when you are cooking and that sort of thing. And I think a lot of people will know Tapoica Starch from when they are cooking. So what have I done? Well, I actually just mixed these silica, and I have silica here. It is from a company called Making Cosmetics, and you can get it other places, but well, actually it's a little bit difficult to get it. But this I got from America, and it is rather expensive to have it shipped to the UK. Yes, I know, but it will last sort of a long time, or that's what I said last time I spoke about it, and that's when I bought this one here. But actually, when I use stuff, I might use a little bit more than I should, and sometimes I experiment with stuff and so on. So actually there isn't not that much left. So what I will do today is that I will simply take this little container here, and you can see, yes, that is from Evening Primrose Oil. So that is an empty container. You can take any container really. So I've not made a lot of it, but there is a little bit of Tapoica Starch in this one here already. So if we just open it and have a little look, then you can maybe see that in the bottom here there is maybe sort of a spoonful or something like that. I don't think you can see it, but that's what there is in. So what I will do is that I will actually mix this I have here, so the silica, and there is sort of like, you can see that it's really fine powders, and you should not breathe it in really. So you can see there is sort of like sort of amount. So I will just mix that into this one here, and really be careful because it can actually go pretty much everywhere, as you can see. And really, as I said, don't breathe it in, and that is something like sort of like a long term. So like if you were working in a place where they were using silica, it might not be the greatest thing to inhale, but it is in a lot of powders anyway, so you most likely will be familiar with the silica from setting powders and that sort of thing. And anyway, you shouldn't really inhale setting powders anyway, should you? So now we have here, I just sort of like mix it up, so in this sort of like a tumbler fashion sort of, and like that. So what I have shown before is that just when I use the silica, then I would dip a brush into it, and then I could powder it on, or you could powder it on your skin first, and that sort of thing. And I've noticed that there is a lot of people, they are asking, they really don't want to use a brush and that sort of thing. And I have sort of like a feeling that they are men, and they don't like to be seen with a brush like powdering their faces. Okay, so I have come up with another thing how you can do it. And I would say it just, when you're using a brush, it maybe is a little bit easier to get it more evenly distributed, but also you risk that when you have put on the sunscreen, if you're putting any sort of a powder on top, you should be a little bit sort of like gentle, because it will actually you risk that you are removing it with the brush, and you really don't want to do that, obviously. So that is another thing that is people are saying, can I use a makeup on top of whatever sunscreen I'm talking about? And the thing is that a lot of the companies, they say, oh yeah, you can do that, but the thing is actually, when you just put a sunscreen on, if you're putting a makeup on top, you're basically just smearing the whole thing all over your face, around, off the face, and I mean, you really would have no idea how much sunscreen is actually left on your skin. So that is not what we are sort of like talking about today. So today we are talking about how to mattify a sunscreen. So I would say I will put this one here on the one side of my face, and then I will use this powder here. And if you've just jumped into this video here, then obviously this is not a box for powder, but it's just one that I use for it. So I would take this one here and just shake it up, because you always should shake up a sunscreen really. So like that. And now this is not so much about how much should I put on, to put the correct amount on and stuff like that. This is more to see, will it actually mattify the sunscreen when I use this sort of powder I have in here, or will it not? So we would like to see the sort of the difference. But I know that when I use a spoon like this, there is a sort of a 1 milliliter in it, and that is not enough for my entire face, because I actually need 1.25 milliliter. But I also know that if I take about 7 pumps of this, it's kind of like 1 milliliter. So that's what I normally do. And also this is an SPF of 50, and basically I like to have one that is an SPF of 30 really. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, sort of 7, and now it doesn't really work, but that was 6. And just to demonstrate, you take a scoop like this, you kind of like almost get 1 milliliter. So yeah, we take it off again like that. So if I take half of it, I put off this side here, voila, like that. You can see how that will perform. And I don't have any sort of a cream on my face, so actually this one here will sink in a lot better than sort of maybe normally. And it's not that I am sort of using a lot of cream in the morning, because I don't really do that. But now I have actually cleaned my face to be sort of like fair to the product. And you can see how it actually will sink in on skin that does not have anything on. It's just been cleaned. So it is actually, I would say, not too bad. I don't want to, I can put it on my eyelids as well. So I would say this is actually a rather good sunscreen, and it has a lot of good of these the filters in it. So that is really great. So now we take that off there. So we just see how it looks, and I would say this can hardly be a lot shiny on camera even. And when I see it here, it just looks like my skin is sort of have a natural sort of dewiness. So I would say this is not something that is super shiny on itself, but it does it has a little bit of some sort of a tackiness to it, and obviously it will sort of like sink a little bit more into my skin. But also what happens when you're moving around during the day, you will be sweating a little bit, you'll be warm in the face and all that sort of thing, and then it sort of like it will start to maybe go up and be a little bit sort of a sticky, even that you just put it on and it kind of like sunk into the skin and was sort of like okay, but then as you move around and you're going about your day, it will start to be sort of a little bit sort of like sticky. So what we will do now is that we will take the same here again, shake it up, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, sort of 7. And we just take half of the stuff away, so we kind of like get the same amount on the face as on that side there. And then we just take the powder. And the thing is here that you need to be a little bit careful, because you don't want a big lump in it. You need to sort of like distribute it very sort of like evenly, and it's not a whole lot. It's kind of like you have to practice a little bit to see how much it is, but it's sort of like this. There you go, and then sort of like evenly all over, and that should be pretty much enough. And then what I would like to do is just mix it a little bit like that, and then just up there you go, on the cheek as well, and up here, and on the nose. And then normally what I do is not to have this stuff sinking into your hand, I take that off there, so you can like make sure you get it all in there. So now we put this on. And I said, normally in the morning I don't wash my face, I just have on whatever cream I put on the evening before. And that means that my skin will be a little bit less likely to take up a lot of sunscreen. So now when I've just washed my face and haven't put anything on, then this stuff here will sink in a whole lot better. And I will actually say that I find that this sunscreen here is actually rather good. And it has these good filters, modern filters. So yes, it's a little bit problematic. You can't get it in America, I know. But these filters are actually really good. And it is these sort of filters that will last the whole day, basically, apart from if you're smearing it away and that sort of thing. No, it will obviously not last the whole day. And that is one of the things with these sort of modern filters, when they say, well, they will actually last the whole day, and people go, no, it won't, and test says it won't. But usually those tests, they are made so that people are putting this stuff on, and then I mean, at least I saw one test, and what they said was the issue, and what the industry didn't like was that when they have tested it, then people had put this stuff on, not this particular one, but a cream with these sort of modern filters in it, and then they put on a shirt and that sort of thing, and then at the end of the day they tested it. Is it still there? Obviously it's not, because it would be taken up by the clothes they were wearing. So the essence is that yes, these filters, they will actually last, but not if you remove them. That is should be pretty clear. So now you can see this stuff here, and you have to be sort of like work pretty quick, because it will actually sink into your skin and dry up in a much quicker way than on the other side here. So now what I can see is that this side here, it is not as shiny as this side here, though I know this is not particularly shiny, because there can be sunscreens that are really, really super shiny, and this one is not one of those. So I would say when I touch it, it's a little bit sort of sticky, but when I touch this other side here, it's more like a sort of a velvety sort of a feeling, and it feels a lot nicer, and you don't have this sort of feeling of having some sort of a sticky sunscreen on your face, basically. So I would say this definitely, and now it's just like sort of like drying up a little bit more, and it just becomes really nice. And you can see, I'm pretty sure you can see that this side here is a whole lot more matte than this side here, though as I said, this is not particularly very, very shiny. But anyway, I would say that if you want something that is not super shiny, then something like this, I would say that is a really good choice. And there can be other sunscreens like from La Roche-Posay and so on, that are really like watery as this one here, and they can sometimes be a little bit difficult to work with. But I would say this one here is sort of like liquidy, in a way that it's not too liquidy and it's not too cream sort of like. So in that sense, I would say it works pretty well. So now again, when I touch here, it feels like a sort of a silky sort of feel on my skin, and it is, I would say, exactly the same sort of feel that I get when I'm using something like this, which actually feels really nice on the skin. But it's just, it has these silates in it, and I really don't want that in a sunscreen if I can avoid it. And we've spoken about that before, and that is because they are sort of like, in animal studies, been shown to be hormone disruptors, and we've spoken a lot about that. But this video here, it was more about how can you actually mattify a sunscreen. Now you might say that, well, can't I just pour the whole stuff in here and then shake it up, and then I just don't have to do this every time? I would not do that, and the reason is that these products here, they are formulated in a way so that they stay put as they are supposed to be. So if you add something to it and you leave it, then you risk that it will sort of like lump and clump and do that sort of thing that is not good for it. So that won't be really great. So that's, I would say, do that just before you add it on. So you do it freshly every time, and make sure that you are really quick about it and no lumps and bumps and all that sort of thing in it. So be really quick about it. Can you powder it on the sunscreen afterwards? Yes, you can, but as I said earlier, they don't want to do that because it doesn't look that butch or whatever they would say. But anyway, this is actually how I do it nowadays. It works pretty easy. I would say adding this sort of a Tapoica starch, it makes it a lot easier to work with, in the sense that it gives this sort of a nicer, sort of a soft feeling on the skin. And now I'm in the UK, and therefore I have used special ingredients. But you can usually go to any sort of a food store, and oftentimes they will have it. Apart from where I am, I can't really find it in Waitrose, and I can't find it in Whole Foods and all that sort of thing. So in the end I had to order it online, and that's what I did. But I know that on Amazon, for Amazon.com, I saw the American version, there is a lot of choices for that sort of thing. So and it doesn't really cost much, but it has really a great effect. And I think that when you're looking at it now, yes, this is not bad for a shiny sunscreen. It's not at all, but it is a little bit sort of a sticky, kind of like you get a feeling that you have something sort of a thick stuff on your face. Where on this side here, it's more like, it feels like the same sort of feeling as if you're using something like a silicone so dimethicone on your face. It's sort of like the same sort of a silky sort of feel, and I would say it looks nicer. So yes, I would say that is something that is really cheap to do, and something like this, it should last a long time, really. But yes, it can be maybe a little bit expensive to have it shipped to the UK, or maybe to other places in Europe and stuff like that. But yes, that is definitely something you can do. So things like the Tapoica starch, and then mix it kind of like half and half with the silica, and I would say there you have something that is really easy to work with, and it will give this sort of nice sort of silky feel on the skin, and it is what the professionals, they are using anyway. So as I said, in this product here, there is Tapoica starch and there is silica. So yeah, there you go. That was an easy way of doing this sort of thing, and I would say it works a treat, really. So yes, if you would like to see more of this sort of videos, please subscribe, hit the bell, and do all the things in between in order to be notified when I upload more of this sort of videos. Thank you for watching. See you. Bye.